That doesn't sound good. God, it's so angry. So as you heard, I have a bit of an issue with the Ford Ranger. So it's screaming pretty good. I think it's the alternator, but it's gotten louder, and last time I drove it, it was a little quieter than what it was. So it's screaming pretty good. I'm kind of in between bad bearings on the alternator or something to do with power steering. So I'm gonna get access to the idler pulley here by taking this hose off. That seems pretty loose. Oh, that was already loose. Nice. A little cover off. I'm really hoping it doesn't rain on me, but I don't think I'm gonna get that luxury. So this is the problem when you have too many projects and the Jeep is in the garage right now. It'd be really nice for this to be in the garage and not be getting rained on right now. But hey, such is life. This is a 91 Ford Ranger. It's the V6 4-liter. So it gets about as good a fuel mileage as my F250 with the 6.2. It's really too bad. I love driving this little pickup. It's 5-speed manual, so it just, dude, a Ranger with a manual is like the best vehicle. They're so fun to drive, just a little tiny pickup. These trays were on sale at Harbor Freight a couple weeks ago. I bought so many. You can never have too many of these. Let's get the tensioner pulley loose here so I can get in there. That is our 16 millimeter. And we'll pull it this way. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the whole bolt belt off. Get out of the way. That sounds fine. Okay. Alternator is good. I bought a new alternator off Rock Auto. It was like 30 bucks or something. It was really cheap and it didn't have a core, so I don't know. Well, I got that on standby, so we're good to go. Tensioner, I do have a little noise, but it's definitely not our main noise there.
That idler was pretty stiff. I ordered another one online to have on hand.
That's got some bearing noise in it. Water pump. I just did this when I bought the thing a couple years ago. Not that. Good. It's not this either. Not the AC clutch. The idler. Yeah. Look at the play on that. Yeah, that's our problem. So, okay. I checked online, looked at O'Reilly's, looked at Rock Auto. Both are running about the same price, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pick it up locally. At least I can get it done tonight and not have to wait for a power steering pump. And it looks like the rain has stopped, so that's good. Unfortunately, I'm working out in the driveway because, again, the Jeep's not done. That will be a recurring theme. You know, sometimes just heading out to O'Reilly's here, noticed my lights were a little dim, so I got a headlight out, so that's cool. Just put these new ones on. These are LED bulbs. Fortunately, I bought some spares, but yeah, you know, always fixing things, right?
So I tracked my tools as I did this replacement, and here's the tools I needed. So I needed this pulley remover and installer kit. This is a Harbor Freight special, but it did fantastically. I do recommend it. It's a good little set there to have in your toolbox. Another Harbor Freight special, magnetic trays. You can never have too many. Underhood lighting, grease for the pulley remover installer kit. Use a nice high pressure grease, keeps your tools lasting longer. Flat bladed screwdriver, always comes in handy. 16 mil socket for the belt tensioner. 17 mil for the power steering bolts. Couple ratchets, used a Milwaukee M12 to power things out. 3/8 long reach for breaking bolts loose or general just better control, better feel. Used a 1/2 inch for the pulley remover and installer. Nice long ratchet makes life a lot easier. That pulley is an absolute pain to get installed. And that's a 1 inch deep wall socket here. Couple extensions, as needed of course. 1/4 inch ratchet and socket. That was to get the return line off of the power steering pump. You could use a 1/4 inch nut driver if you have enough access to. 5/16 to pull the intake pipe. And also just the plastic cover on the engine. 3/8 breaker bar. That was just to pull back the tensioner. Deep in a standard 1/2 inch socket. That was for the pulley remover. Wrenches, we used a 1 inch for the pulley remover. That was the jack knot. 18 millimeter, that was for the pressure side flare knot. 17 millimeter, that was for more control over the power steering bolts. And a 1/2 inch again for the pulley remover and installer kit. Gloves are always good. I needed a heavier non-slip glove to keep the pulley from turning. You'll see that here later in the video. After the pump is installed and the lines are refitted, also need a floor jack to jack up the front end of the Ranger and go lock to lock to clear any air bubbles out of the system. Much better than dragging your tires on the ground. I will mention that you can get a power steering bleed kit, but I don't have one. I do it the old school way. This works for me. I've installed a few different power steering pumps in different vehicles and never had an issue doing it this way, but you know, as always, your mileage may vary. I needed a straight edge to verify pulley alignment. Kind of a weird tool, but I needed a clamp. You'll see in the video how I use this. I use this to keep the power steering pump from spinning while I reinstalled the pulley. I think a strap wrench would have been the best tool instead of this, but it's the best I could come up with without running out and buying more tools. I had strap wrenches quite a while ago, but they broke and I have yet to replace them. That will be a tool on my list to get the next time I go to Harbor Freight. So we got 3 bolts around there that I gotta pull off. And then I got the actual hose barbs I gotta pull off as well. I'm using a ratchet here. Without that, I don't think could be possible. I mean, you could do it with an open end, but that's too much work. This is a 17 on these 3 bolts. I feel that these bolts are going to run into the back of the pulley. Yeah. I'm gonna change the plan there. We can't get those off. Let's see how easy the pulley is to pull off here. I don't even know how that comes off. So yeah, so looking here, this pulley is pressed on. I don't have access with a normal bearing puller or pulley puller. Yeah, look at that. We got power steering leaking. What the hell? This thing is trashed. Anyway, I gotta buy more tools. I gotta buy a puller for this specifically. I can't think of a way to pull this off without destroying things. So I did notice Harbor Freight has a set. So Harbor Freight tomorrow morning, and we'll get back on this. Yeah, see you when it's light out. All right, here we are. Get our power steering puller. I got a good spot to park. Of course I don't, because nobody knows I parked in this parking lot. Oh my god. Look at that. Perfect timing.
Typical Harbor Freight visit, about way too much.
Well, it's flathead cherry season, so I had to make another stop.
Oh yeah. Sorry about any of the bug noise. There's some cicadas going crazy in my tree. But here we go, a pulley remover. Let's see if it's worth it. You got all sorts of instructions. And again, if you didn't see it, it's this kit. Hopefully by the end of this is actually a good purchase. All right, well, I greased everything up. So I'm using the nut, I'm using this, I think they call it a jack screw. And then I'm using this at the end. That goes in the end of the jack screw. That'll push against the shaft on the power steering pump. And we got the sleeve. So that goes around like that. So I got to do my best to get that around there. Okay, hopefully you can see that. So I got part of that there. Sorry, there's not many spots to put the camera, so I'm in the way. Get the other half of the sleeve. That fits. Cool story. Jack screw's a 1/2 inch, and this nut is 1 inch. Noises, either good or bad. Yeah, it's moving. I'm gonna go get a socket because this is a pain. All right, there we go. Worked a treat. Recommend the Maddox so far. We got to reinstall though, so we'll see how she performs there. So you got a flange in the back, or a nut, or an adapter, or something like that. That's 1 inch. And then you got an 18 mil thread. Quarter-inch socket is the way to go on that. Wow, that sucked. 17 mil. Should be able to pull it right out. Perfect. Well, I don't know if you can see that, it should not have that much play. I'll try to do some cleanup. It's is what it is. This has been leaking power steering for years. Pretty gross in here. You know, the whole point of cleaning this is to make sure that I see any new leaks. Because I want to really look at the steering box, make sure that's not leaking. If that's leaking, I'm going to replace it. Because I think that's probably how this pump took a shit in the first place, is it probably ran dry. I made sure it was topped off. So if someone wasn't diligent and didn't top it off and took a long drive, you know, there you go, it's shot. Those bearings are trashed. You know, that hose, I'm gonna run with it I should probably replace it. Damn it, now I'm second guessing myself if I should replace this or not. I'll cut the top part off and get a nice clean surface and go that way. And if we get a, you know, obviously if we get a leak, I'll just have to get back in here and replace it, which I should be doing it now, but hey, I'm just gonna like hate myself later. It's still pretty pliable, so yeah, I think we're good reusing this. It's not bad. I gotta replace this Teflon seal that is on this fitting. As you can see, this does not go over easy. Well, I was trying to think of a good way to get that fitted over that. I came up with just a piece of plastic, and then I'm gonna roll that up small enough to fit our bushing over. So that fits just fine, and then I can slide it down, and it's also expanding as I slide it down. So this piece goes over here, over our threads, and I'm going to slowly push this down, and voila, that did get stretched there, and that should shrink back down and be good to go. This guy goes here. There's that. Pressure line threaded in. Get those tightened in. It's our 17 mil again. And click. There we go. Don't know what the torque values are on those. You know, good and tight is the torque I'm going for right now. I'm gonna give our pressure side a pretty good torque here. Again, I don't know what the torque value is on this. Tighten up our other side. You know, that's plastic. Do not over tighten it. You don't want to break that. If it leaks, then tighten it a little more until it stops leaking. That's pretty much the best way to deal with an old hose fitting like that. We're using the threaded stud. Install a thrust bearing here, a little washer, and then our jack nut there. Pull it all the way out, and then screw it into the end of the power steering pump. Make sure that stud is threading in, and I want a good amount because this thing pulled off pretty hard, so I'm assuming it's going to take quite a bit to get in.
I gotta say, this install was not very easy. Getting this pulley back on, this has a very tight interference fit between the pulley and the shaft, so you gotta put in some effort to work that thing on. I could have probably made this easier, but I just did not have enough room to get my ratchet in there. So the biggest issue is you cannot let that pulley spin. So I threw on some different gloves, got a good grip, and just pushed my way through. So I finally came up with a relatively good idea. I wrapped the belt around the pulley, threw a clamp on to get, you know, good grip, and it finally worked. So the alignment looked a little off, so I went and grabbed a rule I had floating around the shop. This is a Starret. You don't need a Starret. But anyway, you can see the gap on the bottom there. I need to come out about 3/32 on the power steering pump pulley. So yeah, I should have paid a little more attention while I was pushing it in. Could have saved a little bit of pain and suffering there.
Oh, watch your face. All right, let's do the belt. The thing is still loose, I hate it, but it's good enough. Okay, and our hoses are tight. I'll pull off this cap and dump some power steering in. I'm gonna top this off, and then I'm gonna bump the ignition.
I'm gonna go ahead and bump the ignition a few more times here. You may still get a little bit of whining out of this power steering pump before all the air has cleared, so keep that in mind. Mine finally quieted down quite a few hours later. Jacking up the front end. Doing our lock to lock to help clear out some bubbles. Should have probably used a jack stand instead of the jack, but yeah, it worked out. And this job is done. Didn't really expect the start-stop aspect of this project. That always makes these drag on. Needing to stop and buy tools, or needing to stop and figure out a different way to do something. But it's done and ready to roll without screaming down the road. Anyway, if you like the video, do the old like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.